Okay. All right. All right. You want me to do this? You want me to actually do that? Okay. All right. You know what? You know what? I think of myself as somewhat talented in this department. We can spin this. Okay. Hey everybody, how you doing? Are you ready for the best? I know we've sat through a bunch of really lame characters throughout this entire run. Ukiora, Grimjow, Stark? What the hell did Stark do in this story? But now we come to the best. The absolute strongest Espada, strongest Arankar, strongest Hollow, nay, strongest character in the damn series! Hollified Uber Jedi Ichigo has nothing on Luppi Antenor! And oh yes, he might have only been Espada 6, but he knew it was such an injustice that he would be labeled number 6. Then he took that hand from Grimjow and the upper half of his body obliterated into cinders, because he would rather deal with that than deal with having a number 6 branded on him. That's Grimjow's cross to bear, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and you're lucky Grimjow did, because if Luppi went up against the Gote 13, wiped out before dinner time. Case in point, this is Luppi's Resurrection, Trepadora. Check it out, it's got a bunch of tentacles coming out of his back. Now listen, Luppi's abilities are multifaceted and multi-layered, okay? Those tentacles can either be regular tentacles or they can extrude spikes. So you got regular tentacles and spikes. He is running the gambit of powers in terms of anime. I have not seen, even in Hunter x Hunter, with all those complex nen abilities and everything, this right here takes the damn anime cake, okay? He could have wiped out every single member of the Gote 13 immediately. Tell me how that would not have happened, okay? Gote 13 rock up to fake Karakura Town. Aizen steps out, but then Luppi just walks right behind Aizen, pushes him aside, activates Trepadora. The tentacles with the spikes and everything, they come out. They just wrap around all the different members of the Gote, and then the spikes shoot out and just... No fuss, no muss. So yeah, that was the potential Luppi had. But for some bewildering reason, Kubo decided that it was not meant to be. Kubo decided, you know what? I gotta get rid of... I wrote myself into a corner with this character. This character is way too OP. I need to just take him out of the story altogether. Other than that, he's going to gain so much power and momentum that he's going to be able to break into our physical world. And at that point, you know, he would just, you know, the universe would be Luppi's, okay? Okay, so that's what I got. All right, that was probably going to be the bulk of this video, to be honest with you. Holy crap. All right, today I was honestly going to take a day off, all right, because I had to do some stuff today. I had to run around, do some chores. I had to get my car looked at, you know. So I'm running around, I'm doing all that kind of stuff, and it was super freaking hot out today. It was really humid out, so I was just kind of like, feeling kind of like, you know, I was like, it's just kind of, I think I'm just going to take the day, right? And so here we are at 9 o'clock at night, and I realized, you know what? This is probably the best state of mind to be in for talking about Luppi. Alright, let's treat this more of, like, the after party, if nothing else. The Espada series is over. Let's end it out with Luppi. Yeah, let's clap. Alright, so, remember that time that Grimjow went into the world of the living, the first time he did that, to do that little incursion to see, to kind of measure up what the Shinigami were really capable of? So, he fights against Ichigo briefly. Ichigo goes Bankai, the full power, gets a Gatensho, hits Grimjow head on, and he just kind of has some burns. It's a little bit more grisly in the manga. You know, you do see some blood and some burns on him. In the anime, it wasn't as bad. But anyway, as punishment for that, for kind of going off on his own without permission, when they get back to Hueco Mundo, Tozen immediately slices off Grimjow's arm and then uses Hien, a high-level Kido, to like burn his arm into nothing. Alright, so now without an arm, Grimjow is immediately demoted outside of the Espada. I was like, wow, a left arm really was that worthy, huh? Wasn't that? Like, that's kind of weird. I mean, he was like, you know, 6th Espada, but you lost an arm. I mean, would he still be capable of using Gran Rey Zero without an arm? He was still an Espada, so I guess so. I mean, yeah. I mean, his center of gravity might be messed up a little bit, but still, I think demoting him out of the Espada, that's not really fair there. Honestly, you know, going back and watching these episodes of Bleach, sometimes I wonder whether Aizen even gave a shit about the Espada to begin with. Because the entire time, most of the time we see the Espada hanging out with Aizen, Aizen's just like, whatever. You know, it just like Grimjow comes back, he's like, Aizen, I left because I had to, and Aizen's just like, Whatever. Like, occasionally, like, when they had that one meeting together, where they're like, oh, there's been some intruders in Hueco Mundo, what are we gonna do about that? And Grimjow gets up to try to go after them, and that's after he became an Espada again, and Aizen uses his spiritual pressure to kind of, like, weaken it, but you never really feel like Aizen... It's like Aizen's sitting down and he's like, okay, all right, I have to make sure the Espada are at full power when we invade the world of the living. I have to make sure that these Espada are ready to go. I'm going to go through some training and some drills with them, and they're going to... You never get that sense that Aizen is like the tactical general, like mobilizing an army, all right? You really just get the feeling that these Espada, even the strongest hollows in Hueco Mundo that they have to offer, they're a little bit more than just pawns or maybe a rook in Aizen's mind, all right? He's the king. He's going to be the one that's going to transcend into this next level being. Everybody else is just kind of like, whatever. So Grimjow gets kicked out of the Espada. So we have to... I mean, logically, you'd think you just move everybody up, right? Logically, you would just think, you'd like, all right, move Zomari up to 6, move Sile up to 7, move Iron Yarrow up to 8, Yami's weird, so let's just keep him whatever. And then if you're gonna bring Luppi on, make Luppi the new number 9. You think that's how that would work. But no, Luppi just comes out of the woodwork, out of nowhere, just like, hey everybody, how you doing? I'm your new Espada friend. I'm like, all right, fine. And then once again, Aizen he's like, yeah, whatever, who cares, brand him, throw the 6 on him, everything's good, I don't give a crap. So, Luppi becomes new Espada number 6, goes into the world of the living for that second kind of invasion, the one, like, kind of sanctioned by Aizen this time, which was a little bit more of just a distraction so they can get their hands on Orihime's power. So, Grimjow's there as well, but he's no longer an Espada, so he goes off to fight Ichigo, and then eventually Shinji and Rukia get involved in that fight. But Luppi, on the other hand, Luppi's like, yep, I'm the new Espada, I'm number 6, nice to meet ya. And so Luppi activates Trepadora, the vines come out, and he kind of honestly handles like Rangiku and Ikaku and Yumachika and Toshiro, kind of handles them all at the same time. You have Yami there taking on Uehara, Wanderwise is there just kind of off doing his own thing, and then Grimjow goes off to fight against Ichigo. So, I guess the impression we're supposed to get right out of the gate is that Luppi was extremely powerful, because even with the Gentei Kaijo, the limit release, in effect, a lot of them were still being able to be restrained. Then again, you also have to keep in mind that, like, Ikaku wasn't going to use his Bankai against Luppi, Yumachika wasn't going to use Rurio Kuchaku against Luppi, Rangiku, he got really creepy with Rangiku, to be honest with you. He was like, he kind of wrapped, I mean, his ability is literally tentacle hentai, if we're being straight up, that's kind of what it is. So, wraps up Rangiku in that, and it's just like, oh, hey there, girl. You got a real sexy body. It would be a shame if someone were to spike it full of holes, So that was pretty creepy. There was like a scene where he was like ogling Rangiku's chest, and that was kind of creepy. But at the end of the day, Toshiro was able to handle everything. Toshiro used that Senen Hyoro. Toshiro always tries to do the big epic ice prison ability. Do you ever notice that? He has a few of those in the series where he's like, I will lock you in this ice prison where you will remain until the end of time. And then, like, 5 minutes later, the enemy somehow figures out a way, either through their own power or indirectly, figures out a way to break it out. It's like, this is Senen Yoro, 1,000-year ice prison. Be imprisoned for a millennia. And then, like, 5 minutes later, oh, the Negacion broke him out. All right, well, 1,000 years, 5 minutes, same diff, really, Toshiro, right? Later on, he does the Hyoten Hakaso with Haribel. Tries to do the same basic thing with Harold Valkyrie in the final arc, freezing him in that, like, this is like the 9th level Buddhist hell technique. Shatters apart and just reforms into energy anyway. So it's like, what? Toshiro, man, I'm just saying, if you're gonna rename these attacks, you might make them a little bit more reasonable. Be like, instead of 1,000-year ice prison, honestly just call it ice prison. It's not as creative, but it's a lot more accurate, is all I'm saying. Luppi is interesting in the fact that his resurrection is not really based on an animal, rather it's based on a plant. Vines, because the Japanese translation is Ivy Girl or Ivy Maiden. In like the Viz translation here, it's Ivy Maiden, okay? So, okay, that's something interesting. It's like, it also kind of throws out the whole, like, one of these things is not like the other. Stark is a wolf, Baragon's a human, Haribel's a shark, and Ukiyora's a bat, Noitera's a mantis kind of guy, Grimjow's a panther prowling around, then you got Zomari, who's basically a pumpkin, but he might, link back to some other kind of plant or animal, who knows? And then you got Silaparo, the anemone, me, and then finally ending out with Aranero the Octopi. And that was a real, okay, I was doing pretty good there until I hit Zomori, because then I was like, wait, Zomori also was not really an animal. I think Zomori was, okay, Zomori I don't think is supposed to be a pumpkin. He might be some other kind of really obscure, like, animal, or, like, some kind of creature that exists on the planet. I don't think he's supposed to be a pumpkin. I was just making a joke, but in any case, Luppi is very clearly supposed to be, like, climbing vines, like ivy, okay? So that's what Luppi is, okay? And so because of that, though, ice and plants, you could see the weakness there. So seems really powerful at first, being able to restrain all those vice captains and everything, but you'd figure, like, once again, Ikkaku could have broken out of that if he really wanted to. Same thing with Yumachika if he wanted to use his real Zanpakuto ability. And then Rangiku might have been having some trouble, but then Toshiro was the one that just froze the vines and then called it a day, right? Saved by Negacion. However, at that point, Orihime had been captured by Ukiura, brought her back to Las Noches. She used her powers to heal Grimmjow's arm, and the first thing Grimmjow did was like, got an arm. Nice. I like what you did there. It's good. The muscles are responding pretty nicely. Hey, Luppi, come over here. I want to check something. What? Just come over. I want to check something. You're not gonna ram your hand through my chest and blow my half of my body off with a Sero. No, I'm not doing that. Come on. Just want to give you a firm handshake for all of the duties that you took on. You're the current 6th Espada. You deserve a nice firm handshake. Ha! And then he just jams his hand right through Luppi's body. Sort of could have seen that coming. And then blasted half of his body off, and the legs just collapse. And then I guess Sailaporo walks in with like a broom and a dustpan and is like, Lord Aizen, do you mind if I, oh god, there's not much left of him. You mind if I just scoop this guy up and take him back to my lab? Aizen's up there reading a magazine, just, huh? Oh, yeah, I don't give a shit. Go ahead. I love that too. Like, how does this work exactly? Like, when one Espada is taken out of status, I guess another one could just pop in and become one, and Aizen is just, mildly entertained by the whole thing. It doesn't really seem there be like an actual process in all this, right? I wonder what happened after Neliel, the 3rd Espada, just mysteriously disappeared one day. Was Aizen just like he was getting his nails done or something, and just, Lord Aizen, we can't find Neliel 2 Oda Espada number 3 anywhere. Huh? Oh, okay, whatever, just find someone to fit it. I don't care for crap, Anyway, so, Luppi does appear in the final arc. For some reason. So after Mayuri defeats Sailaporo, goes into his laboratory, retrieves the corpses of the Preverona Espada, so Chewy Sandwich, Dordoni, and also Charlotte Coolhorn, which Charlotte Coolhorn wouldn't have been in the lab because he would have been still alive at that point. I guess Charlotte Coolhorn, Mayuri just resurrected his body from the fake Karakura town, like just discovered his body there and took him back. And then you have Luppi, who I guess would have been in Sailaporo's laboratory at that point. Okay, so, if Kubo was gonna sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna bring back some of the Arrancar as zombies in the final arc. Well, I appreciate he brought back Dordoni, because Dordoni was a pretty fun character. I like Dordoni. It was really cool seeing him again, Nino! That was really fun. Chewy Sandwich, okay, she has, like, the goth Lolita thing going on. She's pretty cute, and she fought Uryu. Okay, fine, bring Chiruchi back. Plus, she had a really interesting weapon, that, like, string on a yo-yo, that yo-yo on a string kind of thing. Charlotte Coolhorn, alright, also, pretty memorable character with the whole Yumachika fight. That was pretty well known, okay. And, Barry, I just realized most of this time you're not even on full camera. This is how much attention to detail I'm paying with Luppi's video, okay. So, but then you get Luppi. It's like Kubo, like, it's like, alright, it's either a choice between I'm bringing Luppi back or, Gontimbine, Mosqueda, Espada 107. Honestly, if it was a choice between Gontimbine or Luppi, I'd go Gontimbine. Gontimbine had a damn orange afro, okay? And his Zanpakuto... Actually, Gontimbine was pretty cool. I might just do a whole video on Gontimbine. Gontimbine was cool, man. He got the afro. He was dressed like a 70s, like, disco kind of guy. His technique was... His resurrection was, like, really cool. It was Dragra. Dragra? If you're gonna go with Trepadora or Dragra, and he takes his, like, arms together and makes, like, a giant lightning dragon cannon out of it, freaking hell, man. Loved Gontimbine. But now we get Luppi. So Luppi shows back up and fights against, Giselle's zombies a little bit. That's pretty much it. Like, even in that situation, we had a moment with Charlotte Coolhorn. And we had some moments with Dordoni and Chewie-san, which were kind of funny with Mayuri and everything, but Luppi was just kind of like there. You know, Luppi didn't really even do much there with the comedy back and forth. Luppi was just kind of, I'm here. So, because my fans did help me out with this, they were like, actually, Tekking, there was some extra stuff about Luppi in case you're curious. Well, I'm not, but alright. So turns out in Can't Fear Your Own World, we find out something interesting about Luppi. Luppi in Can't Fear Your Own World was revealed to have the same aspect of death as Grimmjow. So Grimmjow's aspect was destruction, Luppi's aspect was also destruction. Doesn't this guy just exude destruction? Like, Grimmjow was a damn jaguar. Alright, he was like, I'm the king of the jungle. I prowl. I hunt my prey. I wait in the bush until my last moment when I just rip him to shreds, okay? Luppi! I have vines. Luppi uses bind or wrap, the most annoying techniques in the entire Pokemon games, because you just really can't do anything until it's done. Yeah, that's really symbolizes the power of wrath. I mean, or destruction. I mean, to be fair, he did have that thing going on where when Luppi first showed up, he was kind of chill, kind of jokey even. But then when things really get, like with Grimmjow and everything really get, you know, intense, he starts getting like, how dare you, you can't do that to me. So he did have a little bit of an attitude, but, you know, compared to Grimmjow, didn't really get there, right? And going along with that, there was one extra thing that was added for Luppi. He did not get a Hogyoku combination in the Can't Fear Your Own World, but he did get some extra artwork. So apparently, because his Zanpakuto is a vine, or ivy, a plant, when Mayuri modified him into a zombie state, if he would have went into his Resurrection in the manga, which we didn't see him do that, but if he were to go into his Resurrection again, the Resurrection was modified so that his tentacles were a little bit more thorny. That's pretty much it. Like, he could already kind of shoot out spikes, but now there's not spikes, they're thorns, because they're like a briar, like a plant. Speaking of briar, actually, remember my Pokemon Prism Let's Play? Man, that was a lot of fun. Let's just spend the remaining of this video just talking about that. Man, that was a lot of fun. I miss you, old Briar. Briar was great, wasn't she? She was fantastic. Got a lot of great fan art for that one. Alright, anyway, yeah. So he's got an upgraded Resurrection. I mean, you could do some cool stuff with that. I mean, you get wrapped up in that. Maybe you could have, like, if the thorns, like, puncture you, maybe you could, like, suck out, like, an enemy's Reiatsu or something to increase the power of the vines. Maybe the vines could, I don't know, channel electricity or something. Maybe he's a plant, so could he exude, like, Stun Spore? I'm just going Pokemon with this at this point, alright? He shoots out Stun Spore or freaking, you know, Poison Powder or something. You know, maybe he can make a dome of, like, vines to, like, protect himself. Or make little, like, maybe shoot the vines into the ground to make little vine soldiers come out and fight. I mean, everything I'm coming up with here is way cooler than what actually happened in the series. I'm just trying to make this work somehow in some way, you know? Alright, but, yeah. Oh, he also did get a Gran Racero. Yeah, he was an Espada, so we got a Gran Racero. I'm not really sure how that works. Like, if they get demoted from Espada, like, could Neliel utilize a Gran Racero, even though she wasn't necessarily an Espada? You know, when Grimmjow lost his arm, like I said, could he still use a Gran Racero? I don't know, maybe. I will tell you one thing about Luppi, though, that I do fondly remember. I can't believe this guy got a freaking, you know, Tankobon cover. Once again, Luppi, Tankobon cover. Stark, no cover. But there is one thing I remember about this. Okay, so when I was in high school, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was a big nerd back in high school. I mean, now I've gotten over that, of course, but back in high school, I was a pretty big weeb, and I had a lot of study halls and stuff. So during study hall, I would bring my manga books from home, and I'd sit there in study hall and I'd just read my manga after I'd done with my homework and everything like that. You know, and most people didn't have any idea what the hell I was even reading. They thought I was reading like some backward. Whenever someone asked me what I was reading, I would just said backwards Japanese comic books just to confuse them even more. There was like 2 people in my school that even really knew what manga was. But anyway, I always remember I was at lunchtime one day looking at my book, and I have my other friends with me, and we're all guys, and we're all like freaking teenagers, like, you know, 16 years old or whatever. And in the back of volume 26 here, we actually have the famous Bleach on the Beach double-page spread. Thank you, Kubo. God bless you, Kubo. And so, yeah, I remember, like, one time I was at my table and I was reading this, and my one friend wasn't really into the comic book thing, and he was just like, he's like, man, I just can't get into that kind of stuff. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, oh, I'll show you. Wait a second here. And then I show him this, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah. So that's what I always remember about Volume 26. It just happens that Luppi is on the cover. And if you want to go further than that, may I recommend the Bleach art book, All Color But the Black, where we also have the full color spread of the Bleach on the Beach. Or you could check out the Bleach on the Beach anime episode as well as the new movie that is coming out pretty soon. I know that Burn the Witch is going to get a movie, but I also think they're going to make an entire movie simply based on the Bleach on the Beach cover spread. Yes, exactly. Guys, Bleach anime is coming back next year. There has to be a fan service episode at some point where, like, for some reason, all of the Shinigami and the Sternritter girls all go to the beach for some unexplained reason. They're just, like, they're hanging out in the middle of the Seirete, they're fighting each other, and then all of a sudden it's just, like, Gremmy shows up and is like, we're going to the beach, everybody! You know, it is, okay, we're on the beach for this one episode, hanging out, and then the next episode is go back to it. Yes. Alright, so that's the ESPADA series. Barry, do you have anything to end us out on this? Very poignant, my friend. Great. Okay. Next series we're going to be doing, next Bleach series we're going to be doing a Fullbringer kind of series there. I have the thumbnails whipped up for that, so that'll be pretty cool. There's not that many Fullbringers, but we should get through that, and we'll just keep that going, and we'll see what happens. People have also said, hey, you should do a Vice Captain or Lieutenant series, because I haven't really talked about them yet. Well, we'll see. We're definitely getting more Bleach on the horizon. You can see it on the horizon. The rising sun of Bleach is coming. It's going to be kind of far off yet, but it's coming soon. All right, so anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Glad you enjoyed. Tekking signing out. Yep. This isn't even the Bleach on the Beach. This is just like a Street Fighter version, but Ruki is super hot in this. Okay, I swear I'm not making this up. All right, I did not plan this at all. So, I end the video, and then I go to kind of just double check some stuff on, you know, just to make sure I got everything I wanted to bring up. There's not much involving Luppi, but I just want to check. So, I'm looking through some stuff, and I find out that Luppi's birthday is June 5th, which it's June 4th right now when I'm recording this. So it's like 9 o'clock at night. It's like 3 hours until June 5th. This video will probably, I'll just set this video to be uploaded at midnight for that reason, but I just want to let you know that I did not go into this video knowing that, yeah, June 5th is Luppi's birthday. The universe has a weird sense of humor sometimes, you know what I'm saying? All right. Later, everybody. Happy birthday, Luppi. I guess.